Welcome back, 36th episode of Tesla to Mars. No RoboTaxi countdown this week, but this is going to be a fun-packed episode talking shit. And we have some topics lined up.
Kees,
yeah?
Do you say you're not going to talk during this podcast, or what is it?
Yeah, zeker, definitely. Yeah, I give the word over to you.
Fine, no, don't go there. Just stick to the agenda for once.
No, we have a couple topics lined up. Even though this is the recording, tonight is the company update, so this recording will go live afterwards.
Why are we so slow with the recordings?
Yeah, it's not my fault.
So who's to blame then?
It's usually this guy here.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Why? Because Starlink doesn't work.
Yeah. Most of the time, internet's shitty. No, it's difficult because like 1.5 hour recording takes some time editing, and then putting it live takes also a lot of time, like uploading, downloading. So we aim or we strive to upload it like the same day, but it's usually not.
We should just go to X and do a live stream there.
Live stream on X, yeah, definitely.
Because from tomorrow onwards, this will be irrelevant, right? Everybody's talking about the company update.
So today we're going to talk everything about the company update.
Not everything.
We have a lot not on the agenda.
Yeah, we have a lot on the agenda.
But let's kick it off with something that's highly likely going to be discussed at the company update. Because Joe Tetmeyer, we all know Joe Tetmeyer. He's the master spy shot maker and the drone flyer in Austin, Texas. And he found out, he photographed something which is pretty cool. Let me put it on the big screen. We see here. Some spy shots of what are we seeing here, Kenny? We're seeing racks with
castings. Body castings. So basically some castings that Joe, at least, so he looks at this more often than I do, but he couldn't relate to any of the existing models that Tesla now sells. So presumably it's from a new model. We don't know which one. It might be the Cybercab. It might be a new model. We don't know. So there's quite a lot of speculation going around. So maybe if we look at the pictures, do you guys have any ideas, Damien?
Yeah, I have ideas with it. Well, what people maybe really underestimate is that the whole casting technology, and Giga Casting is literally one of the Tesla groundbreaking technologies that they used and that they built. So let's say using castings on that giant scale was literally inspired by Elon having one of these scale models on his desk. And he was looking like this is actually like very detailed and very, very precise. How do they manufacture these kind of cars? And somebody dug into it, and then he discovered that it was done with casting. So Elon asked the simple question: can we do this with larger cars as well? And then they started to think about the idea of using sort of casting machines to mold together a lot of different parts. So Tesla came from the production hell of Model 3. I think everybody remembers that. And that production hell was basically where they over-automated a lot of their processes with robotics. So for every process, there was a robot, and Elon famously, at a certain point, walked down that robot production line and starting graffitiing red crosses on robots that were obsolete at that point. And from that thinking on, they invented basically that Giga Casting. So the casting technology is something that is already very old, 40, 50 years old. And Sandy Munro was also a very big advocate for that, for the whole car industry, but nobody dared to do it. So the company that is creating these giant casting machines, it's
Hydra from Italy.
From Italy. It's very interesting because these giant casting machines are really something spectacular to look up. So I can recommend everybody to Google Giga Castings in YouTube so you can see the size.
We saw it in Berlin, right? Like in real life, these things are huge.
Huge. It's almost like apartment building big. But this is a technology where Tesla needed to develop their own alloy. So basically how this technology works is that some liquid is injected in a mold, and that mold then squeezes a car part. So it's basically a lot of car parts being put together by Tesla. And Tesla is way ahead with this technology compared to the rest of the market. But Elon also said, like, guys, let's see how far we can stretch this technology. Let's make an even bigger casting, like something where we can put multiple of these molds and parts into one piece. So the biggest casting machine at Tesla right now is 16K. So 16,000
Kilo?
Yeah, kilo. How do you say it? Not square kilo, but 16,000.
Tonnage.
Yeah, tonnage. Yeah, 16,000 tonnage. And the previous biggest one was 8,000 tonnage. So that's doubling in tonnage. But Elon always comes from the principle of physics first, right? So he thinks about what is possible with the physics and try to come as close to what is literally possible in physics, then reverse engineering sort of that technology to come to a limit. So he said, well, maybe we can push it to 50,000. So that's even like a 3x from here in one of his latest ON's update. So what I think these new castings is like a continuous, maybe it's a new model, that can be, I don't know. But I think this technology is constantly evolving with Tesla. So we're so used to sort of static manufacturing. Like we have one way of manufacturing and we always do it this way. But Tesla is continuously pushing the technologies to see how far they can get with this technology. So
two things I have
Model
about
3s,
that.
Model Is, Cybercabs, they will all have in the end like very complex casting technologies.
No doubt. And at first I thought it will increase the cost of repair, because the advantage of having multiple parts is also being able to dismantle and replace that part. And I was thinking, like, if you have a collision, you can just do away with the casting, and you need to put in a new one. But they can laser cut it out and replace it and
Really?
And weld it. Yeah, so it's actually pretty repairable. So that's a good thing.
Oh,
And
no, I didn't know that. Can you elaborate a little bit, because you probably see that with
yeah,
Mr.
because
Green,
like,
right?
I thought so. Like I saw these service mechanics from time to time, and they actually say it's way more easily repairable, and body shops have less difficulty because they can just cut it out, replace it, and it doesn't do that much with structural integrity of the part.
Incredible.
But basically, you're saying that you're not sure if it's a new model, right? You say
No.
maybe it's for existing models.
Yeah. And the big question is, of course, like, okay, are they already at scale with the Cybercabs? That can be a scenario. Are we going to see a cheaper model?
But
Or are we going to see
I think
the Model Y or number or 3 sort of in a lower cost version?
yeah, but this
But
is
if-
more conceptual what you're speaking of, right? So if we look at the photos,
So we see here RTTX. So TX is the denominator for Texas, and RSF, that's here, rear subframe. So this is actually the rear subframe of the RoboTaxi. And if you compare it to, for instance, the Giga Casting for the Cybertruck, you'll see CTTX. So this is specifically a body part for RoboTaxi, which is quite striking to me, because I didn't think they were going to do the RoboTaxis in June, but I'm still convinced it's going to be Model Y. But apparently they're stamping out these castings like crazy.
so you basically think it's the Cybercab.
Yeah, or because I can't find the tweet right now, or the X post, but Nick Cruz Patane, he overlaid it with a Cybercab. So that makes a lot of sense. But there's also a lot of rumors that the Cybercab won't be there. And he also took a slide from one of the shareholder presentations where it looks exactly the same as that thing that they showed, like with 44% less capacity and the unboxed production method. So I think that's what they're going to release in the company update.
Yeah, well, when was the RoboTaxi event? That was in November last year.
10-10. Yeah.
Well, if you just look at what happened during that event, there were already like 50 Cybercabs rolling around. And Tesla is always moving very, very fast. And if you look at the product in Elon's biography already, which is like already 2 years behind us, they already talked about him sleeping at that production line. So my guess will be that they're very much ahead with that Cybercab because they were already at 50 on that 10-10 event. It's not crazy much, but going from let's say 50 to 1,000 is fair to assume that there are at least thousands of them already. And also Optimus, right? Because on the end of the year, they say we aim between 5,000 and 10,000 bots. So there are many production facilities at Tesla that nobody can see on pictures or flyovers. They're so well hidden.
Yeah, they do that very well.
They do that really, really well.
And Florian, where's your head at with these pictures? What do you think?
Blank.
Blank? No idea?
No idea.
All right.
For me, this is all abracadabra. But
you couldn't care less, right? I think.
No.
Yeah.
Well, why not? He cares about cars. Very much. Yeah, he does. He's an engineer. He knows about structural building, so it's very.
But my head when I was listening to these experts here at the other side of the table, I was only thinking about what I was talking about tomorrow with somebody. It's like, can you imagine having like a factory full of Optimi? They are all standing like this. So with Mr. Green, we have like around 5,000 RoboTaxi ready cars. But can you imagine you have 5,000 Optimi at your disposal?
A legion.
It's like being a general and saying, okay, let's go, guys. I mean, I was thinking that should be illegal or something.
It should be, definitely.
I mean, how dangerous is that?
It could go south pretty quickly.
So how many Optimi are you able to actually order maximum?
Yeah.
Is it like 100? Is this already?
Will the Chinese army will be able to do an order?
That will go. So let's say there are many sort of sexy Tesla technologies, right? So the technologies that are very sexy and get a lot of attention is the Optimus robot, the self-driving, all that. But I think this casting is like also a technology in that realm almost, because it's so a groundbreaking way of manufacturing, and nobody in the industry was able to do it, had the balls for it to do it. And that is what I always liked about Tesla. So there are a couple of things sort of in plain sight, and we come to Tesla Energy today as well. But there are so many technologies and let's say inventions already to get to this point, because let's say they say the humans are the sort of, they're giving birth to the AI, right? That's a sort of theory that we humans are like the AI is the butterfly, we the humans are the cocoon. Well, if you look at the cocoon of Tesla, nobody in the industry is being able to be profitable with electric vehicles. Nobody. So Tesla is the only EV maker that is profitable. Yeah. And the reason why they're profitable is they have these type of insane innovations that can drive the cost down in ways nobody ever done before. So literally the old players in the industry were using 300, 400 parts with a lot of humans working on it, etc. So Tesla tried to automate everything, but automation didn't succeed. So they needed to come up with something, and they came up with casting. So this whole reason Tesla being profitable by having their costs down, is now sort of giving birth to full self-driving, to Cybercabs, to Optimus and all that. Because without a sort of profitable P&L,
they couldn't have done this.
It's impossible, because no competition can do it. If you look at how insanely high the entry costs are to just build a compute for AI companies, then there's maybe Amazon, there's Google, there's Facebook, and maybe a handful of companies that are able to jump on this.
That'll be in the company update as well, I guess. The huge cost for AI.
Yeah. So the company update of tonight is okay. Tesla sits more or less on 30 billion in cash, and even in a negative scenario, there's 1 or 2 or 3 billion, whatever, coming to their way, but in that P&L, you don't see how much they're actually spending on AIs and infrastructure for all this thing. So I found it just amazing that a company can be so innovative on, let's say, every small piece of needed to drive the cost in the car.
Yeah, I think we discussed that last time as well, right?
Yeah.
But I think now looking at the current landscape, it's more also of like connecting the dots. So we will go to FSD in a bit. But I think Elon mentioned last year already, it's balls to the walls with FSD.
Yeah.
There's rumors from Reuters that there will not be a compact car. So a lot of Wall Street analysts will not be happy with it, because the TAM, the total addressable market for smaller cars, will not be let's say started by Tesla.
And the industry has been waiting on it.
And then also Phil Beisel, our friend of the pod, was here last week. Also mentioned like there's no FSD update, which is strange because you would expect it based on the timelines. So there's a rumor there that they might announce tonight that they're there. Unsupervised, yeah. So that they're 10 times better than humans.
And it would make sense, like connecting the dots, the amount of statements that have been coming online on X mainly, it's everything FSD related.
But it's a all or nothing bet. So also Florian tagged me in something asking like, hey Kenny, what do you think about the numbers, or what do you think about this? But from a numbers perspective, I think they missed a little bit the boat with the Cybertruck, which is short term, which is very short term, because for the brand it might be very good, etc. But after that, I think they've gone like full force on.
I disagree on the Cybertruck, because my idea is that they launch cars in phases, and the first phase they had the Cybertruck for 100,000, which is to get all the tooling in place, to have everything in place. But Tesla only enters the market when when they can become category leader, and their end game is not a 100K Cybertruck. That's maybe the play of, let's say, a company like Rivian or those kind of cars that want to just serve a small niche. Their end game is to have Cybertrucks for 40K, 50K on the road. So they're working towards that point, and with every price coming down, their sales will.
They announced a cheaper model, right?
But that's why I say on the short term. Because so instead of focusing on a smaller model, they focus on the Cybertruck, right? You can only allocate your resources to
number
of things, and now they focus it on the Cybertruck, which I think has less of a market where they can sell than the smaller vehicles. So in my opinion, they missed a little bit that boat, but that's just my opinion. So on the next topic, I think we're going to FSD. There was a review, I think, in China. Florian, maybe you want to tell more about the LiDAR versus vision and what you read about it?
Well, I just read the tweet, and I thought it was funny to read it.
What did it say?
Well, maybe we can play it, and then we can comment on it.
Can you translate, Florian?
Yeah, so what here. This is the test, and this is with all the different competitors.
So for the people who are listening, we're looking
Chinese
at Chinese
competitors. This is Li Auto.
So
Xiaomi.
The tree in the middle, that's the whole thing about it. Like all LiDAR vehicles have difficulties navigating around that tree. whilst vision only, the Tesla is the only system in this comparative test that makes it.
Yeah, so basically we're looking at a video where a bunch of Chinese cars are going on a roundabout and they're all crashing.
This is the Tesla vision only.
Nice.
So the
Goes
conclusion
around
is
it. Yeah.
LiDAR is like a crutch, as Elon said.
LiDAR doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
At least,
as Phil Beisel explained last week.
Last week, yeah. I actually saw some cars on a big truck today. I think it was Volvo with a big LiDAR on top. So
it's actually pretty funny because this is like a fork in the road, where Elon always talks about.
Yeah, it's a tree. It's a tree in the road. So what are your thoughts on FSD being solved? Case, well, where do you think we are, and in light also with the company update and the things you're seeing?
Yeah, I think we're gonna get I'm almost always quite positive when it comes to FSD, but I think they've solved it at least to a really large extent. Because there's a reason why they've posted the Amsterdam video, FSD Supervised in Amsterdam. They never did that before. I still have some intel that I cannot publicly share yet. But
what is this? We have a podcast to share some scoops, and now you're gonna give a teaser to our listeners.
No.
I know something, but I cannot say it.
I'll piss some people off quite big.
Well, you do that daily, so
but
that
not
cannot
like
be
this.
a hurdle.
Not like this. But what I can say is that in those emails that I've seen, is for a fact, Tesla has been testing for years and gathering data in Spain, in the Netherlands, in Germany, in Norway, and perhaps also in Denmark. And they are giving test drives out to regulators also in the Berlin area. So that leads me to believe they are the data case that they're building is getting stronger and stronger and stronger, because in the past it has always been for regulatory approval, it has been a bottleneck that Tesla couldn't bring their US data over here. And now they've assembled enough data, which is pretty telling, that FSD and unsupervised and supervised is actually pretty close. So yeah, I'm hoping for something really positive tonight that'll blow us all away.
The pump of pumps.
There's one other milestone happened. I think they accumulated around 4 billion FSD miles together. So, and
which was the magic number again? We needed to reach
6 billion.
6 billion. Yeah,
going pretty quick right now.
Yeah. No, it is. Yeah, well, it is. I think also what we just mentioned, that Phil said there is no FSD update. Most likely it will come with the next version, so version 14, where he expects it to be released somewhere in June. So when the RoboTaxi comes live, that's his expectation. So from a lot of angles, it looks like we're pretty close.
Yeah. I think the confidence of many people involved is that it's going to be solved. So now you also see giant podcasters suddenly picking it up, like Joe Rogan talked about it. And I think very large platforms are always a bit hesitant to push technologies or to talk about technologies that can cause some danger. So I know from firsthand that those kind of podcasters are a little bit cautious when it comes to those kind of things. I can even assume that they maybe text with Elon, I've had this experience. Are you okay with that? I share with it. So there's a lot of talk there. But I always feel like a little bit of a sort of Tesla historian. And also this is a very interesting thing, because now everybody wakes up to full self-driving, but the capabilities were already installed in the car on 2016 when that, or let's say 2017, when that rollout was there. So at this point, that's already 7-8 years of data collection. And of course, they will have tests in many countries. At first, because as we talked about it in last week's podcast, is that they also have shadow mode where the full self-driving is learning on the background while others are driving. So I think the confidence that you see in that video of China is sort of the industry standard, because for full self-driving, Tesla, it doesn't matter where it's going to be deployed because it has that data already ahead.
It has the operating model already.
Yeah, the operating model. And
for me, actually, one of the... I wouldn't say I'm bright, so I don't have moments of brightness. But when one lamp went on last time, so I think it was Naval who tweeted something like, if you own the operating systems, you own the whole system, you know? And basically what Tesla has built in the last couple of years is an operating system for autonomous vehicles.
Yeah, and the vehicle itself. So
on top of it, because they needed it.
That is the cocoon that gives birth to that thing. But I like it as well. Like I've been, I don't want to say I'm sort of conservative with this kind of things, because right now it's probably my...
Last time you were conservative, you were 3 years old. But
it's probably my 30 plus earnings call that they announce, and everybody always want to listen to a sort of new bombshell that's going to be announced. But I feel that's also a little bit of sort of fun thing to speculate about, but also a little bit of clickbait thing for many people in the community on X. In reality, it's never like super extreme bombshells, but the bombshells are there all the time because the innovations are driving on the roads already, doing incredible things.
You're connecting the dots again. This is a couple days ago, 31st of March. A Model 3 Mule is driving around with, again, different camera locations.
Oh, nice.
So it might mean two things. Cybercab again, but we've seen that already and the bodywork is already done. So why would they do that? So I'm thinking like this is the cheaper model, actually the stripped down version of a Model 3 or a Model Y maybe. To get that bigger TAM, as you talked about, Kenny. And there's all kinds of dots like these that keep popping up. And the rate in which they pop up is pretty insane.
Well, I think it's pretty clear by now that Elon is going balls to the walls, all in, all about RoboTaxi. And it doesn't really matter which kind of model there will be.
No. Yeah, I think these kind of things like, okay, maybe there's a bombshell from management. Tesla over the last couple of years, in the beginning, they, let's say, pre-profitability, they were sometimes a little bit over-enthusiastic on things. But since they are profitable as a company, and especially since they're widely profitable with enough cash on the balance sheet, they're sort of more holding their cards to their chest.
Also because they're being copied. For once, but and also because they don't need the cash, they don't need to raise new money,
new capital.
But I think on the FSD part, we've already heard for 5, 6, maybe 7 years.
It's coming.
It's coming.
A year. Yeah,
even more. I think 8 years. And now Elon mentioned in the last call as well, like, I'm the boy who cried wolf, but there is actually a wolf now. It's called FSD. But let's see. You know, I think we'll hear more tomorrow or tonight.
Yeah, but let's
tomorrow.
Let's
predicting the future. So
we always talk about the Super Bowl is there
coming
tonight.
Yeah.
But this is always like, I don't know how about you guys, but for me these kind of calls and updates are always like the Super Bowl. You know, I'm very excited about it and always want to learn more from the management team itself and see what's going on. You know,
I usually
killing my sleep score though.
Yeah, but I usually fall asleep like somewhere mid presentation, and then the next day, shit, I should have stayed awake.
I always listen to it.
I always do stretching. I wake up very early, of course, and then I do instead of weightlifting, I do stretches with the
podcast on, or with
the earnings call on. In the past, I was always staying up, but so it's too late.
I usually fall asleep with the questions.
but within those questions, there could be like a hidden gem, but not always.
Most of the time.
So what time is it tonight?
It's 11:30 for people in Holland.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought 9:30.
No, they drop
11.
They always drop the earnings report after closing. That's around 10-ish. And then the earnings call is, let's say, 1.5, 2 hours later.
So usually they start at around 12 because it
I think
takes
the earnings
time.
will be bad though, but let's see. In case on the FSDs, to round off the FSD topic, for us here in the Netherlands, it's not well and widely known that FSD is quite as far as it is in the US. But even in the US, I think Wall Street never tried FSD while they're investing.
Not many, no.
But there has been some FSD workshops, right? Is there any more you want to tell our listeners about it?
Definitely. So I'll put the tweet up on screen. I reposted something that Matt Smith actually noticed. And in some locations, for instance, here in Louisville, they are giving like physical workshops.
Oh, cool.
To become acquainted with full self-driving supervised. And why I think this is bullish, because as I state here, like Tesla never really marketed FSD properly themselves. They just released it, and they released it pretty smart with like the OG beta testers and YouTubers educating the public. But that bubble has reached its limits, So the tech is ready to be mass deployed, at least I assume here. So they're actually getting people used to FSD. And why does FSD make certain decisions at some points in time and how to handle it? So for me, that's very,
It's another breadcrumb, right?
No, it is another breadcrumb, definitely.
This will definitely bring up the take rates.
For sure.
I mean, we did it with Mr. Green like 3 years ago. We started with kind of workshops. We had like a license.
Yeah, like a certificate. So we had a company that provided these workshops, these trainings. And then in turn, the assumption would be if you know how to drive with ADAS systems, you'll become a safer and better driver with less damages or less risk. So we would lower your deductible. And it was actually a pretty good program. We did it for a couple of years.
So you also gave an incentive, right?
Yeah, definitely. There's a monetary incentive. Yeah, definitely. So it reduced the deductible from 350 euros to 150 euros.
That will probably be their next step for Tesla. They will combine their FSD with their insurance.
Wouldn't that be great to say like, hey, you don't have FSD, but you have maybe a step-in package where they can do it on the highways and people get to know, hey, it's super handy to use, and then maybe they want to buy it,
Yeah, but it's also crazy to think about this rollout. So this is like a commercial rollout with all these ideas that we're bringing up right now. Yeah. But on the other hand, we also learned from Phil, this is the last FSD update we will ever see. Yeah, maybe. So from now on, everything is going to be unsupervised. So if that's really true, then it's crazy that we're going to skip this whole part of the whole journey,
but Europe suddenly they're 100,000.
I mean,
what's happening?
We are Mr. Green. We're always very early with ideas and to
technology,
actually to adapt things to the business model. But we thought Tesla would actually bring this to the table, and now they're doing it. And now maybe within 3 months, everything is going to be completely skipped over. Because we already got unsupervised.
But I'm not sure if unsupervised will be rolled out to the general public. So that's one of my questions. Of course, I asked to Phil.
Regulation is the big hurdle.
Yeah. Well, but in over here in the EU, definitely.
Yes, it is true in Europe, but I think in the US you can already use it, right? So to the full extent.
Or will there be a world where you have supervised and unsupervised next to each other?
That can be.
That might be.
Well, I think a couple
Shall we
of things.
Supervise Damien?
First of all,
great idea.
Just thinking about it, I now see you like we need to supervise this guy.
I've been unsupervised all my life, my friend. So,
I think that's the problem.
First of all, shout out to Case, because you really become like the influencer, pulling up your own post to talk about them.
I do want to discuss one thing: is that when are we getting some proceeds from you, Case? Because we've helped you with all the people that are now following you.
You always wants money that
I want to make deals
himself. So.
That's M&A.
That's M&A.
That's a business model.
I got the first 2 payouts from X.
Congrats.
It's not nice. that big yet, but I've seen my follower rate growing through the roof. It's like I think in January it was at 2,500. Now I'm at 52.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, probably you get pushed as sort of recommended accounts to follow in the Tesla.
Well, but you've put a lot of time into your FSD regulation, so
definitely it's
definitely
time
well deserved.
Amazing.
I think you're one of the first people ever who got more followers because of sharing regulation.
I think so.
Normally people don't like it, right? The regulation again.
No, but we have a friend of the podcast, Heike Jost. She did a Grok search about regulations, and like I got cited in like 8 out of the 10 topics.
Nice.
Wow, amazing.
So you're true. Like the algorithm picks it up.
Pick that up. Yeah, I've two ideas on that FSD rollout. So in the Tesla community, there's a push to advertise it more. Yep. But from my point of view, that's a really nonsensical way of thinking, because literally Tesla has the hardware and the software for that car. So literally you're looking at the screen all the time for every destination that you want to have. So if they can just adjust the level of aggressiveness that they want to push this on the public. So from my point of view, they're very much in control already of take rates and all those kind of things. Because if I would not be a FSD user, then it's just a matter of pushing a push notification like, hey, it's holiday right now. Do you want to try the latest version of FSD? It's very easy for them to do that and to give free trials and all that. And they did it a couple of times when they want to roll out that monthly membership. But then after that, they're always looking at, okay, how much people can we allow? And there's always like beta groups being expanded all the time. But if Tesla really wants to go balls to the wall and having everybody, or let's say as much as possible people going on that, they will be way more aggressive in the notifications and actions that they can do there. And they own that whole device, so it's very simple to do that. And second, something that I think is also like very, very easy for them to do and very underappreciated is they can have very attractive financing options for FSD if you want to have it in a full package or membership models, etc. So from my point of view, Tesla is very much in control of the rollout of their destination, and of course they don't want to have accidents and everything, and like rollouts in new countries like China is already on the back end of your organization so complex because you need teaming and you need a lot of people to do that. So that speaks for me to the confidence that Tesla have, but they do it in a very disciplined manner. Yeah.
Hey, to round it off, because we have some other points and topics as well for tonight. Do we think there will be unsupervised FSD announced, or what do we think? Kees, start with you.
Tonight is 3 days ago, huh?
yeah, probably.
During the company update.
During the company update. I do think there's going to be an announcement of a cheaper variant, and unsupervised is solved, at least to a geofence extent.
Okay. We'll have some broader discussions about speculation on the company update, but you think unsupervised FSD? You think unsupervised FSD tonight or not?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good. No. You, Florian?
Completely blank.
Again. All right. Well, then let's move to the next topic. I think they're gonna announce it, but XAI raising billions. Damian, enlighten us.
Yeah. No, I don't have much on this topic per se, but it's already like there's sometimes so much news around everything that Elon Musk is building, etc., that sort of big things that he's actually building don't get the attention that they deserve. So XAI took over X a little bit less than a month ago. I think that's already quite spectacular because X is a fast-growing social media platform.
Is that all done and dusted? Is that like complete?
Not sure about the update of that. But with X and with XAI and probably the way they structured it, now it becomes way more attractive for investors to jump in. And basically, and it will be the rumor is that they're raising $25 billion probably for compute again, because all they want is compute.
Yeah.
For X and XAI, so XAI. And my wild guess will be that we're 1 or 2 years away for another Elon Musk $1 trillion company, because from what they're going to do right now, the whole vision for X has always been to build the everything app.
Yeah.
And the mission for XAI is to solve the problems of the universe, to help better understand the universe. And XAI will be a massive catalyst for the build out of everything that they want to do with X. So right now, what we have been seeing with X are just a lot of improvements, a lot of minor improvements, like video faster, able to stream, spaces that is coming alive. But for Elon terms, those are just minor improvements. But his team of XAI has been training on the data of X. And X is one of the only real-time platforms where a lot of news and a lot of data is coming from. So from my point of view, the ability to raise capital at 150 billion valuation, that's already like X itself was at 40 billion. So that would mean XAI 110 billion, which is quite optimistic. So I think the roadmap that they presented is so compelling that raising that capital is like an easy thing for them to do, and will be the start of one, the everything app, and second, AI helping us in our daily lives. Because if you look at what you can do with Grok right now, is so amazing. So for example, yesterday I just uploaded a video, a picture of a guitar song, and I said, give me the chords, give me the tabs, give me everything you have on this song so I can play it. So it comes with a detailed plan how you can start, etc. Gives you the sheet, gives you everything. And then the next day I was putting in my in-body results into Grok. So I said, okay, can you give me some advice based on the results that I'm seeing here on this thing? And the level of the advice is so good. It's like a top teacher standing sort of next to you on all disciplines in life. So, and with XAI and X, they're going to integrate that so in such a way so it's sort of your best personal assistant in whatever you want to do in your life.
Yeah. Any thoughts from you on this as well, on XAI or where we're going to or how you use it?
Well, I've been using Grok as well for a lot, and I've completely disabandoned ChatGPT. But I've been using it with other people working on the same topic. It's actually pretty interesting.
Okay.
So you can start asking and prompting, and then you can share with somebody else, and you can actually build together.
Oh, cool.
Okay, that's smart. Yeah.
What I also like is that he understands my history. So
he has a memory.
He has a memory,
Yeah, but
like memorizing it.
That can also sometimes mess it up, because if you use the same chat and you put some stuff in there,
case, but
like my history is shady. You should know that by now. But no, if like it can mess up the results it gives you. But if you put in the right information to start with, then it's
I also started realizing this is the best data gatherer system in the world. You know. If I've been on Grok, maybe even more than X at this moment.
Me too. I'm
just
Grok.
putting in all the data.
Yeah,
and,
I used it as a physician. So you have the general use that you can chat with it, but you also have the voice companion, you know. And I was having this weird sensation in my index finger, in the tip of my index finger, that it feels like it's sleeping.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what is that? So I just thought, like, this is what I'm experiencing. And she replied,
she?
Yeah,
she?
It was a female voice, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And she replied that it's
it was
probably...
the unhinged version, or?
No, this was the AI assistant version, like the basic, not the unhinged.
That's the only one who wants to talk to Case.
But actually,
unhinged female version.
Yeah, that if you ask give me the normal version. No, she doesn't want to talk to you anymore.
No, but 2 weeks ago, when I got out of bed, like I strained something in my neck, and that went away. But I kept on getting this weird tingling sensation, and also here. So I explained it, and she said, probably is your C7 and your C6 nerve within your shoulder blade.
Yeah.
Could you try something for me? Yes. Pull your
Please
chin.
undress.
No, but pull your chin to your chest. And when I did that, my whole arm started sleeping. So it's actually like a nerve that's in there.
Wow, that's
cool.
amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting so good that like especially on those type of sort of expert advice.
Exactly. Yeah.
And teachers, it's good. So, for example, I'm practicing gypsy jazz guitar, and I want to become an elite player within 3 years. So then I just have that question, and I ask it to Grok, and you just keep on having conversations with it, like how should I structure my days? What would a proper training schedule look like, or practice schedule? Do I need to devote 1 hour a day, or what do you recommend me to devote this or making this happen? And it gives you so good advice, but he also says like, he also starts asking better questions like, can you then describe me what your current level is? Can you maybe play some
asking questions to understand the situation.
Some parts, you know, it really tries to understand where you're at your level, just like you describe. And the more sort of data you can give it with sensors and sheets and just information, it's just analyze it very quickly and help that. But can you imagine then having this XAI capabilities and then envision what an everything app is going to look like, you know? It's going to give you recommendations like, oh, Florian, today is your day that you're normally, your blood sugar level spikes on this Wednesday because you're full of meeting. Maybe you need to think about eating proteins instead of something sugary, or because
can you imagine?
Because if you have the data of let's say wearables, etc., on that, it's going to push those kind of stuff.
Yeah. So what I just said, that I was co-developing it with somebody else. I had to write a master plan for our next phase of Mr. Green.
Yep.
So I just started asking Grok, and I asked him, okay, but please also give me what are the things that I'm missing. And then I asked, what would Elon Musk do?
Yeah.
And then I sent it also to Elon. What do you think of it? And then we started collaborating on this master plan.
That's fun.
And then suddenly Grok became so much better. But no, but
trying to weave it in.
But can you imagine that you are actually working on that plan together in Grok within X with all your X community, for example?
Yep.
So you have I just started an X community as well, like a week ago on building a RoboTaxi fleet.
Yeah.
Already have 250 members. But what if all 250 members are going to work together on that Grok master plan on building out a RoboTaxi?
Yeah, what would be my dream at this moment to have is like XAI or X sort of prompts database. So you can have the sort of brightest minds. Because your prompt is going to be sort of your secret sauce, right? So
so you want to learn the best prompts.
I from you, for example, maybe you type in whole different questions than I do, so you get different answers, different results.
Yeah, but I think so. I went to a training for prompting a couple of weeks ago, and I use like ChatGPT Perplexity quite a lot as well for research, and then Grok. But I think Grok not so much anymore. But they basically work all the same, right? And yesterday I was still on Grok, but what it explained is like, how do you ask questions to Grok, or what are your settings? So one of the settings that are good, for example, in ChatGPT is that it may ask questions if it wants to have more clarification to give better answers. And there are some basic, let's say, setup of doing this kind of stuff. So you can also make your own ChatGPTs, and I think you can do the same in Grok. But then you can say, all right, this is your role, and these are your instructions if you do XYZ, or if I do XYZ. And I actually use it quite a bit now at work to draft me emails, to draft me outreach, to draft me equity stories, like all those kind of things. You can make like agents or assistants for it, which I think is very powerful.
Yeah, but what do you want in the end? In the end, you want the result, you want the outcome, right? So basically, Grok can already offer you the outcomes if those are already prompted out. So if you let's say maybe you use your GPT at a certain specific way. You just simply never thought about using it, for example, for a meal plan or for a holiday planner or for a teacher for learning instrument or a teacher for your personal training, etc. Because you can also like send in a video and you get like detailed feedback of your form or how you do kind of things, and that's going to develop better and better. And I think for us humans, it's going to be a sort of whole new era where we use the AI as our teachers instead of just let it do simple tasks.
And this is just talking to Grok, which is like an AI within a computer. But imagine if it's an embodied AI.
Yeah, standing next to you.
Yeah,
standing next to you and doing
making
all these
photos,
kind of things.
Looking.
Well, we actually learned from Phil.
Sensors where they measure temperature, whatnot.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's your thing already. It's Optimus. It's robotizing itself.
Robotizing itself, yeah.
I did have some shady night experience with a humanoid bot.
Let's not go there.
You know how Spider-Man...
Take it next topic.
Rounding off the XAI...
You know how to shut off a humanoid, no?
Well...
Put your finger in its ass.
The reset button.
All
right, well, great. Let's
try that already.
So biology,
did you see the video
here.
on X where this big dog, shepherd dog,
hond?
Yeah, shepherd dog.
Shepherd dog.
And the shepherd dog was like killing a smaller dog, like really biting. And he was like. With his head like this, and there was like one guy racing into the video, and he was putting his finger in his asshole of the shepherd, and then finally he let go.
Yeah, really?
So that's where I got my idea.
But he needed to do it like a lot, like.
Exactly. he didn't fit it in at first.
Hey guys, we don't want to get cancelled now, do we?
It was so funny, but at first the dog didn't really respond, so like he did a second round, with an extra force.
But it was an expert.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, but doesn't any living creature shuts itself down when you start putting fingers in places you?
All right, guys, I wanted to round off the XAI.
We should ask Kees. I have no idea.
I come alive at that point.
Let's get to some decent topics. So the next one, it's actually a very sad one as well, but it's on Alexandra Mertz. So I think Florian, you raised it in the group as well. There's a tweet, so we'll put it on the screen. But can you tell us more about the letter she received?
Yeah, so it's the personification of the crazy times that we're in right now. So this is the letter she received. She put it on X. This is look for yourself. This is
creative design.
Yeah.
This is what you got.
About the design, there is like a certain group online that first came out with this logo. So I think internet, please do your thing, make this guy famous, and search him down and lock him up, because this is insane. They're sending a postcard with history has its eyes on you. Like, why? It's almost doxing and releasing where people live. So the insanity is peaking in this shot.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's.
But I think we're at the end. I hope.
It was a top priority for the administration to go after the terrorist because they were destroying cars and dealerships, etc. But they were also going after the financiers of it to really get to the bottom of these kind of things. And I hope it's true, but it's actually take very little money to come up with some sort of crazy ideas like this. And there are many billionaires in this world that want to influence certain policies and things, and they will come up with those kind of things. But I think what we're going to see from now with the work of Doge and the work of sort of tracking, following the money of all these kind of type of events, that it will sort of crumble down a little bit and not be so organized and centralized anymore.
Yeah. But still, I think this is insanity, right? I mean, destroying cars, sending these kind of postcards to people. It's
Throwing
just like
Molotov cocktails
Yeah,
at
it's
dealerships.
insanity.
yeah, well, I like you can always have a different view, right? I think like we're really in the, let's say, the Elon bubble, and we're biased as well, right? Because and we follow the guy, so we have a story around it.
Yeah.
But other people have other opinions. They look at the world in a different way, which is all fine. But you need to be in contact with each other, you know, just communicate in a normal way and not in this kind of way.
Well, I think to give a shout out to Alexandra, I think history will look back very well on her, because she played a very pivotal role to keep Elon motivated for Tesla and
At least by our community,
the Delaware
yeah,
judge,
and the shareholder community. And I think she plays a very central role for retail shareholders in Tesla, which is a giant part. And don't forget, if Tesla is going to make their success with FSD and Optimus, and those the share price will go to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Many retail shareholders will be millionaires or Teslaonaires. And think
if they
about,
hold on to the stock,
yeah, if they hold on, and think about what kind of positive impact that is going to make if you know all the people that are following, let's say, Elon's visions and Tesla visions, working towards a sustainable, abundant future. If suddenly all those people that are excited about that sustainable, abundant future 5x, 10x their money, that on itself has already like a giant positive effect in the world from my point of view.
Definitely.
So I hope Alexandra can keep her role in the community, and she keeps pushing towards doing great stuff for the retail investors.
Well, I think we all support her, right? So,
Definitely.
big time. So.
Shout out to Alexandra if you're watching. No,
Right.
but, one thing I wanted to add on this topic, because everybody has the right to their own opinion and the right
Except
to,
you, Kees. But yeah.
a fair point. But the right to protest is also like a God-given base right, human right that we all have.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels to me like that right of protesting has gone a little bit too far, especially in the last like 5 to 10 years. If you look at, for instance, if we take a little bit close to our chest, and in Amsterdam you have the University of Amsterdam, and it was a thing that you would occupy at Maagdenhuis, the Virgin House, or like that's where the board seats or something. And if you look at the frequency in history, it were all like big events where the school board actually had something to say. But right now we're seeing like not a peaceful protest, but paid protesters who make a living out of being just a protester, storming into that building and ruining properties, whilst not having anything to do with college interests of the college students, but it's for Palestina. Like, it's the amount of protesting. It also takes away the load of it. You know, if you know what I mean.
Too much. You say like too much. Yeah.
It's and
in
that's
your opinion.
And that's a shame, because it should be like a last resort that citizens have next to their voting rights to have an influence.
It basically shouldn't be used as a weapon, right, to drive political choices. So. But still, it's so getting back to the letter, I think it's very sad, and good that you mentioned it, Florian. So the next topic is it's a very nice topic. So it's something that Damian is feeling very strong about. Has it on his chest. We've been debating if we should discuss it, but it's actually something that Elon has mentioned quite a lot, right? And there's not a lot of attention in the normal media or the media, the mainstream media. And it's about the low birth rates or declining birth rates. So Damian, take it away.
Or in other words, population collapse.
Yeah. Do you want to start with the post?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You can open it up. And this is like, from my point of view, a typical Elon thing where he thinks about. So sometimes you have interviews with Elon where they're asking about sort of mundane type of problems, and then he thinks, and then he starts talking about problems that are, let's say, 5, 10, sometimes 20, sometimes 50, sometimes 500 years down the road. And sort of this is like the fertility decline hits all 50 states, but it's actually a global problem. So you see very much declines into the sort of population all over the world. There are some exceptions, but overall it's a trend that you see everywhere in the world.
Mostly in the Western developed countries, right?
The more the rule of thumb is the more developed a country is, the further
the lower
declines.
the birth rate,
And in many countries, the population decline or the population collapse is already far below replacement rate. So replacement rate will say that your society stays at least on par. So it doesn't grow, but it stays on par. And I think that number is 1.6, 1.7. So that means
1.7.
1.6, 1.7 for every woman. But in some countries, and there are many great sheets on it online, it's already like 0.7, 0.8. And of course, Elon is somebody who can extrapolate on these things. So he says, well, if Japan keeps on going this way, for example, Japan and South Korea are very famous for their low birth rates. Those countries will simply not exist anymore because the people will disappear or we die in diapers. And one, for me, very much eye-opening number was at this moment, we have 150 million people around the world that are 85 plus. Yeah. But in 10 years, that number is to be expected 850 million. So 10 years from now, we have 850 million 85-year-old people on this planet. So that means
85.
85. So 850 million 85 plus persons. So that means your majority of society are becoming like elderly people, and we are, let's say, we are all 30, 40, 50. That's our range. So we're in the sort of in the midst of that. But the biggest generations are the generations that are actually older, and that stifles a lot of development that you have in the world. But I think one of the most interesting and underlying mentalities that has been slipping into the world over the let's say last 50 years. So if you look at, for example, my grandpa or the former friend that my grandma had. He came from a family of 21 children. Yeah. My dad comes from a family of 7 children.
Yeah, my mom the same.
I'm from a family of 2 children. Right now I have 1 kid, and many of my friends don't have kids.
And the age at which you start having
kids, is very low. So you see it around you, but it slips on you so slow that you don't actually see sort of that change. But the underlying, so what we actually see is that the population will start collapsing. So less and less people will populate the earth. And that has major consequences for infrastructures at certain cities. So at certain points, certain cities will simply start not exist anymore because there are too many elderly people that cannot keep on utilizing the infrastructure. Okay, we don't know what the role of AI and robotics is going to be, but let's assume it's just people, then many of these kind of things will just not be there. But the whole, and there are many ideas, and we don't go into that, what causes these kind of collapses, or what be solutions for that. But from my point of view, it's an awareness thing. But if you talk about it with people, let's say 80 to 90% of the people still have the assumptions that we are with way too many people on the planet.
Yeah, well, it's the complete opposite of that.
Yeah, so they say, well, there's not enough resources, there's not enough.
And it's actually a good thing that this birth rate is getting low.
That's also something you hear. So if you want to have, I can test it with you. If you want to have an interesting conversation with people around you, start talking about the population collapse and see what their response is. Because many people respond in a way that they think it's a good thing that the Earth is going to have less and less people. but they don't see the extrapolating consequences of this.
Well, I think so. If I may say something on that, I don't think it's necessarily that people are so they're not aware of the population decline. But when I start about it, people say, "But the world is getting warmer. You know, it's a problem that we have a lot of population." So that's more of the storyline nowadays, right?
That's a storyline of they say we don't have the resources or all that. Yeah. But from my point of view, this is the pinnacle of the propaganda machine. So there are many things that has been that are just coming with wealth. Yeah. So I don't say the propaganda is the first course of it, but if you really want to come to where somebody stands in their life with their point of view, you can ask them, do you think there should be more or less people on this planet? Because it reveals sort of all the layers of information that you have received to come to that point.
Funny thing about this is that even though I don't necessarily like him as much as a politician, but Frans Timmermans also mentions this quite frequently, that he acknowledges, first of all, that there's a declining birth rate. And that we need to do something about it.
Can you explain who he is for the listeners?
Frans Timmermans, he has been a parliamentary member of the EU Parliament. And he's right now in the GroenLinks PvdA, so that's the leftist environmental party here in the Netherlands. That's who he is, but he acknowledges
why is this population fertility decline so important for Elon?
Well, because if civilization simply stops to exist, then we don't have a civilization anymore.
So do we already know when civilization will stop existing if the current rate is actually mapped out?
Yeah, well,
in the future?
Then let's say. Okay, I'm going to answer this one in a sort of brief explanation for it. So let's say it will decline with every generation with, let's say, X7. So if we have, let's make it simple, 10 billion people, X7, X 0.7 will be 7 billion people. X 0.7 will be 5.2 million people. X 0.7 will be 3.2. So with every generation, you will see the fall of the cliff, but that fall of the cliff will go faster and faster when that number is dropping, and it drops quite aggressively if you look at.
So it's like an exponential decline.
Yeah, so it's an exponential decline. So that's number one. But Elon.
So that's why we need robots, no?
Robots are going to help.
Because if the population is going to decline, what's going to happen?
Robots is scenario one, so that's a reason why Elon comes with the Optimus robot.
Immigration becomes a bigger problem as well.
Yeah, but this is going to...
No, because what I've learned, but I'm not sure about it, I've read it in the book of Tony Seba as well, from Stellar, is that at this moment we live in an economy where labor input is very important. So we are a very important metric of our economy. So if the labor input is actually going down, then the economy is also going down. Yeah, but if the robots are actually coming into the market
and they produce,
they produce, then we need less people. So
no,
that's why I'm asking the question: for why is it important for him?
Let me then finish this point. So the point is like you have, let's say, any given sport, football, yeah. So you have all top players. You have the top teams, Barcelona, Real Madrid. Once in a decade, or sometimes once in a century, a person like Lionel Messi suddenly stands up, like a outlier in a certain field. And to come to certain innovations in the world, so the moment right now, for example, we are in a filter that we can maybe go to Mars, yes or no. Requires certain talent and compute of all the peoples, let's say, on Earth. And the better, for example, systems are developed. So let's say in developing countries, people now have access to Starlink, clean water, clean energy, all that. So they get access and to to contribute in the innovations that can push us as a society forwards to maybe go to new planets, to come up with those kind of things. You have like an Albert Einstein type of person, is a once in a century person. So Elon looks at it from, if we want to progress as a society, then we can of course have robots, etc., to do labor, etc., but they will not have the sort of human ingenuity.
There needs to be like a maximum probability of someone being born with exceptional capabilities.
Also, Jeff Bezos is on this page. He wants to have like 50 billion people.
The hypothesis is that how more people you have, how many the chance goes higher that you actually get a genius.
So basically what Jeff Bezos says about this thing is he said, like, if you copy the world 10 times, you would have 10 Elons, you would have 10 Edisons, you would have 10 Walter Isaacsons,
Bachs,
exactly. So, but I think another point on that as well is that Elon says, like, I've never seen other life than humans or than Earth in the whole universe.
He is a speciesist, so.
And he's a speciesist, so he's pro-human, what he always says. And he knows, so we have conscious, where, and he says, like, a lot of animals don't have that. Is that the right word? Conscious? Consciousness.
Yeah.
And he said it's a little flame that I see, which is in the universe, and it might go out one day, and that's what he is afraid of.
Yes, it's
conscience. And that's also
and
one of the reasons why he wants to go to Mars, to expand life, to make sure that if the Earth blows up or we blow ourselves up, which is also a chance, that it still lives on, and that consciousness will remain in the universe.
One of the things that Elon is like so big on this, and we've had like analogies with the Roman Empire, right? Well, there are many reasons why the Roman Empire declined, but a declining birth rate was a real big factor in it, because like in, let's say, the between the 3rd and 5th centuries after Christ erected, there were like multiple famines, like hungersnood famines, why the population decreased. But then that also gives you less military overweight, and you're less prone to be attacked from the outside. And in the end, your elites will also become smaller, and you have less
and it
people.
happened many times already. So recent, it was the Renaissance, and the Renaissance was literally like living up again after the Dark Ages, because in the Dark Ages, all technology, all progress, everything was lost.
Exactly.
And that happened many times in history. Like pyramids were built, let's say 5,000 years ago, maybe older. Yeah. But after that, there was like thousands of years where we could not construct something like that. So I think your analysis is the right one, Kenny. Like if we have the consciousness is a very precious and rare thing. We have not encountered any other living species that has that level of consciousness, and that can die off. And with that, it's sort of end of everything.
All
because
go extinct.
the world will be fine. The universe will be fine, but consciousness and human beings, they're not finite. And we have been growing up in a world where everything progresses steadily, but that's not a given.
Nope.
Yeah, but there is one downside, right? I mean, if we have 100 planets and we have 100 Damians, I don't think universe will take that very lightly, and I feel very sad then for it. But it's I think it's an interesting topic which doesn't get talked about.
It's a sort of strange topic, but you see now, for example, Hungary, Viktor Orban as a pro.
It's very relevant, and I'm a numbers guy, so you know from
There's
that
a chart
part
for you.
I
So
understand
Daniel knows everything about fertility, but he only has a 0.5 score.
One, but
0.5.
work in progress.
As far as we know, right? So,
You're below average, huh?
I'm below average, so I need to keep up. I take that responsibility very seriously. So
you just turned 40, so
you can expect a couple of them in the coming years.
Stop using condoms.
Did you upgrade the photo of your sperm to a Grok to see if you're still fertile?
You just jizz on your phone. It's like, hey, what is this, Grok?
Well, it's very,
This is such a gross episode.
it's
number
amazing
36.
quality. So.
It's amazing quality. As if he tasted it. All right, well, let's go to the next one. Let's keep the energy, which is a nice hook to our next topic. It's on Tesla Energy. I think we're all pretty excited about Tesla Energy. They had all-time record highs in megawatts deployed. China is getting online and being ramped up. And Damian, I think you saw something on X as well, which you were getting very excited about. So can you explain what you read and what your thinking was around it?
Yeah, well, this is something that Tesla has been announcing also in 2016, the solar roofs in combination with the power walls for retail, let's say, usage. And for me, this is what I really enjoy about Tesla. So many innovations just keep on compiling, and if they believe in a certain industry or they believe in their sort of approach to a market, they just keep on going. Although it doesn't show up in the numbers, maybe they had many things that they talked about with the solar roof that were not coming into fruition because it appeared to be very complex to sort of reassemble existing roofs, because all roofs have sort of complexities in them. But what you're seeing more and more is also globally you have like housing problems where sort of the cost of housing is just too expensive for people. So many real estate developers are becoming very creative, and Tesla is very much working very closely with these type of realtors. And Elon also has been living in a Boxabl for 1 or 2 months, for a couple of months. And
what is a Boxabl?
A Boxabl is a sort of plug and play house.
Tiny house. It looks
No,
like.
it's decent. It has a kitchen and it's really comfortable way of living. But the Boxabl house can be manufactured for, let's say, under 25 or in the realm of 25, 30K. So the whole ecosystem of Tesla now, of course, gets to Optimus, full self-driving, all that. But a very big pillar of Tesla's mission and also capabilities of companies is into everything that goes into your home. And that is a very big factor that Elon is always very profound on, because what are your two most expensive things that you buy normally in your life? It's your house, it's your car. And Elon tries to innovate in both of those areas. So he's been looking at manufacturing houses already for a long time, and having services for houses with the power wall and with the pack and whole sort of vertical integrated system.
And really, the solar tiles finally.
Yeah, there are these solar tiles, but Tesla has a whole different approach right now. So in the beginning, they were doing everything themselves, so the whole roofing, etc. And now Tesla moves more and more towards just manufacturing and product development, and let all the distribution and everything go. But I'm just very happy that these kind of projects are still popping up. And that they're still developing new ways of living and sort of bringing cost of living down for people over the world.
A good step in the right direction.
Yeah, I think this energy side, like I think the numbers are now stacking up. It's gonna hit the P&L.
Yeah.
So I'm also excited to see what it does tonight. But
I think it mostly comes from megapacks. So
sure. So, but this is like a huge market. You know,
huge
it's
market.
like every home that you can actually target. Florian, I know you've been very excited about energy as well. You use it here in the Netherlands, although different systems. Can you tell a little bit more about how you use it, and do you also know how it compares to Tesla, and maybe give us some light on that as far as you know?
Yeah, so on my house, I started with solar roofs from Enphase, which is like the Tesla under the solar panels. And I also bought a battery, 10 kilowatt hours, and I connected it. It's actually an intelligent system, so it's connected to the energy supplier. And I have 3 different apps which will need to be connected as well in a certain moment. But at this moment, I have a Tesla charger for my car. But if I have an M-phase charger, the M-phase charger will talk to the battery and to the solar panels and to my energy provider. So the AI will tell me when to charge the car, when to uncharge the car, or uncharge the battery, when etc. So it will. In the end, it will be a system which is intelligent and which will be cheaper than actually getting the energy from the energy supplier.
The only thing you're missing.
You have a sentient battery at home.
Yeah, it's getting smart.
But you need vehicle to grid. Tesla releasing vehicle to grid.
No, not even, because for example, the day like this, it's suddenly very sunny. If I had my car plugged in, I could just have the system decide to actually put the power which is generated by the solar panel into my car batteries.
So you're charging for free.
Instead of having to put it onto the grid and having to pay a fee for it. So the car is actually being used as like a giant battery. So the battery I've had at home is only 10 kilowatt hours, but the battery in the car is like 75.
And does it work on a sort of like an algorithm or something, or do you have to like be active and follow it?
Right now I'm what I just told you is I'm the one who is deciding. But if I have the charger in place, then the AI will be the one who's going to decide. So I'm not looking at it at all anymore.
Let me hear your thoughts on this idea. So Tesla is very much data-driven company, right? So in the beginning of the EV market, it was all like we have 1,000 miles that you can drive with this car, and it was all about trying to get as much miles as possible. But Tesla actually realized that for commutes, like 400, 500,
more than enough.
It's more than enough. So Tesla was making the car lighter and lighter, more affordable instead of
higher charging rates and less kilowatts in the car.
Yeah. So that's the thing. But that doesn't say battery technology does not develop anymore, because that is also developing exponentially. So my idea was, while you explain this whole concept about these kind of batteries, is that those kind of batteries with like super long storage, etc., will be more deployed with Tesla energy instead of in the cars.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, well, eventually the batteries in the cars are not deployed at this moment yet, not as good as it could. But with Cybercab coming and with wireless charging coming, etc., the system will be integrated. So what we've made from our numbers of if a Cybercab is actually going to drive like 70, 80,000 miles per year, the actual running cost, they think it's going to be around 25 cents per mile. But about a quarter of that is energy. So if you can diminish the energy cost, then the RoboTaxi will be cheaper. Yeah. So, and not only the RoboTaxi, but also your whole energy system will get better. And that's just the beginning. Yeah. I mean, we aren't even talking about distributed AI and the energy it needs, and which it could get from the batteries in the car. So it's just the beginning that we're looking at. This is just the beginning that you just showed, that there are some houses getting off oil and gas, but into electricity. And we even talked with Søren Bescher about it, that eventually the whole energy part, the kilowatt hours will become dollars / crypto / it's just money. Yeah. So energy will be money. Energy
it's a currency.
It's a currency, exactly. So eventually the whole currency will also define how we're going to go into wars. So we will get off our oil-based kind of wars into, which they also talked about in Soft Wars book, kinetic wars, into like maybe a digital war where Bitcoin is going to be like the savior. So now I'm getting to a whole new level of the discussion. But that's what I'm saying, is that we're just at the beginning of that whole era.
What I do like about this kind of things, and that can extrapolate to the future, but the whole underlying philosophy is very much power to the people, being decentralized, giving people their own energy, giving people their own way of currencies, lowering instead of sort of centralized, like literally also Elon in his talks recently that he had it in the US. He'd like really want to get the government out of your life, and this opens up a whole new way of living where sort of abundance is available for everybody, because energy, transport, housing is of course one of the other big pillars that cost people a lot of money, and food will cost a lot of money. But guess what? All your food supply, the most of the money goes into labor. And that will be solved at a certain point as well, and transport,
which is also
energy.
Yeah.
So if you buy a tomato in a local grocery store, you pay for transport, you pay for labor, you pay for energy, and all that.
Yep.
So also food costs will. That's very future talk, because now food is very expensive, and I don't say this is going to change in a year, but in the future that Elon is aiming for, also those kind of costs will go low drastically.
Also, in light of the company update that we have tonight with the earnings call, now let's get back to Earth. So, good discussion. So I think, a lot of excitement around energy. Good that we have an expert here in the panel who actually uses it right now. But I think we're up to wrapping up the podcast for today.
Do you have your Excel sheet already lined up for?
It's open here.
Open
so
here?
it's just the last point number 7. I like numbers as well. Is a last speculation on the company update. So I want to start.
You kick off.
No, I'm not going to start. I want to start with Florian, because he's gone blank for like 4 times right now. So
I'm blank?
Just throw it out there
for tonight. I mean, for me, it's very difficult because we're talking in the past.
But for us, it's the future. So
and then it's fun to circle back on a couple of days after.
So what's your question? Because I was blank.
There's a lot of speculation on why there is a company update tonight, together with
Florian,
the earnings call. What's the wild thing that comes out tonight?
Florian, we're talking about the company update in 2035. So
that's also
you
fine.
can say in the future.
Because
I'll take it from there then. That's what I want to talk about.
Elon will go there.
No, obviously I'm very excited to hear what's going to happen, but I mean, there are so many theories, so many ideas about what he's going to tell, but nobody knows. It could be very simple, but it could be very out of this world.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Yeah,
really no clue.
Okay,
next gen platform vehicle, FSD announcement.
So you say a new vehicle?
Yeah, I do believe.
Not the Cybercab?
Yeah, I do believe it shares the platform of Cybercab, but it's not a Cybercab.
Okay.
Unsupervised update, a short update about what's going to happen in June.
Yeah.
There's something else that I'm missing. Grok integration in the vehicle.
Okay, good.
Cool.
Damian?
Yeah, I don't have much predictions.
You're predicting the whole day, and now you don't have any predictions. What is this?
I predict things that I see with Tesla, but from my point of view, earnings calls are always nice. I listen to them twice or 3 or 4 times because I want to understand where the company is at that moment and hear the small nuggets. And there are many things in that, but I don't expect any major revelations or something in the realm.
I'm on the same ballpark there. I just think an update on the cyber rollout, so the RoboTaxi.
Probably reiterate that it's still June, and
I think it's going to be a little bit later, but I think it's going to happen.
But they did announce in the previous shareholder update in the roadmap Q2 was going to be the new next gen platform vehicle.
Okay. Well, that's true. Yeah. So that's.
I'm not going to sleep then.
All right. On that note, anything you want to say as a last word there, Kees?
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Good. See you next week, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.